Welcome to Make It Personal. Today I will be converting a YSL Beauty pouch to a belt bag. For this DIY, you're going to need the pouch, the die cutter knife, and rivets, as well as faux leather or real leather if you decide that you want to add real leather. So here's a little strip that I did cut. Okay, so now I'm just going to place this on my little cutting board here so that I can put the die cutter on it, make sure it's all lined up. So here's my board here. Now here's the die cutter that I'm using. It's kind of long, but the bag is kind of long, so it'll, cover the bag, and it'll make sure that I can use whatever size belt width. So here's the die cutter. I'm just going to place that on to make sure that it fits. I'm just going to put my die cutter on now, face down. Make sure it cuts all the way through. So just making sure that I have it right on there so that there is no issue with that. Now I'm just going to take the cutting plate here and slide it onto the die cut machine. And I'm going to press down on the machine to make the cut. I'm just going to check it out, make sure it went through, and it did. As you can see, it's in here, and I'm just going to kind of press it all the way down. I want the holes all the way through, so it'll be easy for me to do the little press buttons in. So just kind of making sure that it went all the way through and that everything is good, and it is. So now I'm just going to use something to get this out, because I got the little holes on the back, so you can just push slightly because you don't want to put a hole in the material here, so it's kind of hard to get it that way. So I'm just going to pull it up and be very careful because these are sharp. So now we do have one for the belt loop done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off camera. Okay, I am back and I have my 2 loops. So basically now it's time to measure it out to make sure we got it just like we want it on the back. I'm basically going to just eyeball it. You can measure it if you want it to be precise or whatever. For me, I just want like 2 loops, kind of evenly spaced. So once you figure out where you want it at, you're going to need something to be able to put a hole in, because essentially you want to be able to put a hole through the pouch, and what you're going to do, you're going to cover up that hole. So here are the rivets that I will use to cover up the hole, as well as hold the belt loops onto the bag. I'm going to need 4 of these, 2 for each side on each loop. So here's the other loop. So you'll need 2 for this side and 2 for the other side. But yeah, here they are. So but essentially, you're going to want to put the hole in so that you can, put this all the way through. So I already kind of pressed the hole where I want this to go here. So I'm just going to work my way into the hole. Now, the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to open it up and take everything out. So if you don't want the rivets, the hardware, to be shown when you open up the inside, then you will need to rip out the lining and sew the lining back over that hardware. But I'm not going to do that in this project. I want it to be as simple as possible. I'm just going to, put the hole in, and I'm going to stick it all the way through the lining. So as you can see, it's through the lining here on this side. And then I need to widen it just a little, but make sure you don't, stick it all the way through to the other side. You don't want it to be on the opposite side. You don't want to put anything on the opposite side. That's the front. So I'm doing this to the back. But now I'm going to go on the inside and I'm going to stick it all the way through because I want to make sure the hole is wide enough to accept the screw. So that's all I want to do there. And then I'm going to stick the screw in just to make sure that it worked, or if, to be sure if I need to make the hole bigger, which I do need to make the hole a little bigger. So, and I'm going to be careful because this is not real leather. And so I can see where it's kind of ripping and it doesn't look good. But luckily the screw is going to cover it up. But I want to make sure that it does cover it up. As you can see, here's the nasty hole and it ripped a little bit. So I want to make sure that the screw actually covers it so that it won't be shown. So I don't want that ugly hole shown. So I'm doing it, trying to get it, just work with it to try to get it all the way through. And once it gets through, then you're good to go. But it's pretty much there. The lining is kind of in the way. As you can see here, you can see this part is through. So now what you want to do is you definitely want to take it out and make sure you put your loop down first, or I normally just stick this in here into the loop itself and then stick it into the hole. So now we have that, and then we just need to make sure, you got to be careful with this. The fabric is like the pain where, because it's loose, so it could move around until you put the screw on. So I'm just basically getting through the fabric to the actual screw part. I think we finally got it. As you can see here, I think it's finally there. Now I'm just going to take the screw, which is this part here, and screw that in to the hole. Basically, this is what it's looking like. So basically, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here, making sure it's all lined up. And what you're going to do is just, start pressing the hole. What I normally do is just start pressing the hole, and I just kind of slightly press a hole there, not all the way through necessarily, because I don't want, I don't want to puncture the front. So I take it really easy and just kind of screw it in. Now, getting through this faux material is easy. Faux leather material is easy. It's just kind of, sometimes it gets hung up with the lining, like I said before. But now I'm just trying to make sure that the hole is, all the way through, which it is. And I'm trying to kind of widen it so that the screw can fit in easily. Pretty much what I did earlier at the top. So now that that is done, it's just a matter of making sure, again, that this piece fits all the way through. Now, it's easy to get it through the little loop area here. The next part is getting it through the faux material here. And then the last part is, of course, getting it through this, what we pretty much went through before with the lining. The lining is always kind of the hang up. Okay, So we have one loop on so far here. And so the next step is to add the other loop. Now I'm going to add the other loop off camera. So I am finally done. Let's take a look. Here it is, plain and simple. Just little loops to create a belt bag. So this is how it looks on the inside. Again, like I said, I knew the screws were going to be shown. I wanted this to be as easy as possible, so I did not want to undo the lining and have to sew that back. So I'm okay with this being like that. Now, if I really wanted to get technical, I could just sew a faux leather patch over it, you know, but I don't want to do that as well. I did not want this to be a sewing project. I just wanted this to be a simple DIY where I just use, punch holes and attach the hardware, and it would still look professional, still look, really good. So here's a mod shot of the belt bag, worn around the waist, and here's worn across the chest. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.